would like everyone who is watching this video to ask themselves this question. In a natural state of mind, do women naturally desire the handsome top martial artist Pharaoh more than any other man, generally speaking? Why or why not? True martial artists, warriors, and true pharaohs who are the top martial artists. Fighting for Honor, page 7. I use the term martial arts here to refer specifically to the combative technologies that I trace across time and space. That's one definition. The Hagakure, page 21. Basically, a martial artist is a person who is resourceful in many fighting techniques. A warrior is a warrior because his heart demands it. The Master's Kick, page 82 through 84. How can you expect true confidence without an emphasis on sparring? You won't know what a true martial art is and what it can offer you. 84. Martial arts teachers have become businessmen. As such, the spiritual aspect may become lost in their drive for success. So business is related to image, reputation, trade routes, and quite often globalism. Okay? So let's think about this now before we go on to the next book quote. Martial arts are combative technologies, right? That's how he defines it. Not a correct definition. Close. Master Hyo-Cho in the Master's Kick says there needs to be an emphasis on sparring for you to understand what a true martial art is. He hasn't thoroughly defined what martial arts is in this book. Close. The Hagakure defines martial arts as what they have become and not what they really are. Where it says a martial artist is a person who is resourceful in many fighting techniques. A warrior is a warrior because his heart demands it. Now let's go on to Egyptian mythology that predates, all of this stuff. The gods look somewhat like their early followers, warriors wearing a short kilt. The gods looked somewhat like their early followers, warriors wearing a short kilt. So these people were working with mind, body, and soul and practicing martial arts as warriors. So a true warrior is a true martial artist. A true warrior. When you follow that train of thought to its finish, you're dealing with life and death, the afterlife, what to do in certain situations, what is morally correct, and so on. So an ignorant person is just a warrior when they try to take on a combative technology or combat in general, as a philosophy and as a lifestyle. A martial artist is somebody who works with mind, body, and soul, who may or may not insist on truth, right? They help society maintain the order by teaching people certain principles and philosophies that are compatible with that society, or they are screened out. A true martial artist is a follower of God through the idea of light, pure light, the sunlight. Okay? A true martial artist focuses on pure light through the sun, focusing on the spirit with discipline. He marshals society, defends it, and reestablishes the natural order. Okay? Regardless of whether or not that society's social order and its inhabitants, its general population, approves. That's what a true martial artist is. He's someone who studies nature, comes to the conclusion that righteous indignation helps to create the superior martial artist, and he doesn't want to limit himself. He wants to reconnect to that spirit, the source of righteous indignation, making him the true leader of religion, the true religious leader. There can only be one, and the resulting order. Okay? Keep that in mind. Monarch, man-arch. Royalty, Ra-Yel-A. The T is the plus. So the reason why we have wordplay, gospel, gospel, vow-el, vow to El, El the Canaanite god, and also El as the idea of Lord in general, is so that people who work in the psychological construct can make themselves feel better when they say, I saw it that way already. I'm not stupid. But of course they are stupid because they do not live as a true martial artist. So when you have the contrast, the light of what it means to be brilliant, enlightened in the truest meaning, not illuminism, not Luciferian light, not, artificial light bulbs, but true God-given light of knowledge. You have to be a true martial artist to truly be considered truly brilliant. It is spiritual intelligence, and as the Egyptians said, intelligence is centered in the heart. It comes from the heart. The heart is the seat of intelligence. And to be truly true of voice, you have to speak from the heart, to have the intelligence to be true of voice, the wisdom and spiritual intelligence. Societies first redefined the roles of martial artists so that they would complement their social, political, cultural, economic, and reactionary religious needs. By the way, true martial artists have no problem understanding what I'm saying. People in denial, people who are drugged, people who are, trained to be stupid, have trouble understanding what I'm saying. There are no exceptions in any mainstream society at this point. Even Africans themselves have redefined these roles so that less honorable people can control society, trade, and reproduction. I would argue that all martial artists whose hearts yearn to be fulfilled can only find that fulfillment in the natural order, regardless of race and order. Regardless of race, an order that would welcome their stylistic considerations within the realm of truth. So I'm going to appreciate your variation of martial arts as it applies to your application, as long as you're in the spirit of righteousness and truth. Okay, and not demonstration, business image, reputation, and presentation. The order of honor begins with the warrior pharaoh and those in his family that express his warrior genes honorably. We're all related to each other. We're all related to warriors and true martial artists, but some of us express those genes, and they tend to be direct descendants, like father, like son. This is why the pharaoh order must remain in the bloodline. This is why you know them by their works. If we look at what the scientists are saying at this point, it makes it clear that these are black African martial artists who were the pharaoh bloodline, and they bred with other races. These other races were kind of lighter-skinned blacks, perhaps, that migrated to Middle East, some of them, and came back. Okay, and we see that in the in the current news from 2018. Current science, recent scientific discoveries and findings. And of course, there's the white man's twist for propaganda purposes. We'll get into that in a moment. All right. So the order of honor begins with the pharaoh's family, right? He's a top martial artist pharaoh, okay? And only the family members that express his warrior genes honorably. The true martial artists in the divine order are next. Then the martial artists that have a minimum degree of honor and above. Finally are the warriors, the military, and the police. Depending on their level of honor is what level they're on. So if you have a dishonorable government like Stalin's regime, and you have soldiers and police officers supporting dishonorable activities, rape, exploitation, murder, obviously these people can be beneath, kind of somewhat lukewarm citizens in that case. But the actual order of honor is reserved only for warriors, martial artists, police officers, pharaohs. These are the people who have honor. Everyone else have some, have true honor. Everyone else is some kind of, scientist and so on. These people have a certain degree of something you might consider honor, but it's not quite the same. A distinction has to be made here. Okay, a true honor is the willingness to maintain the divine order honorably. If you're not contributing to maintaining the divine order, you don't have true honor. Okay, so in the absence of an honor code, right, a religious code that includes a martial arts structure, a true martial arts structure, you don't have honor. So if a scientist is living outside of the martial arts structure religiously, philosophically, etc., he doesn't have honor, no matter how good his intentions are. Is anyone naturally above the top martial artist pharaoh? No. Look up the word natural in the Bible. How many places do you find it, and how many places do we see translations of it that omit it? And we see translations that don't include the word natural, but what they're getting at is natural, right? Sorcery is unnatural. Homosexuality is unnatural. Leviticus, Romans, and so on. Okay. Society blurs the line not only for the social order to remain intact, but also in a secret society and propaganda groups related effort to cheat the pharaoh's family and the true martial artists out of suitable mates and to eliminate their vast potential for economic advancement. This affects the other groups as well, and they often turn to helping cheat them for things they need and want. How many times are the words natural and unnatural in the Bible? Is there an attempt to cover up that this is evidence that people must see it my way naturally? Once one considers the relationship between the military propaganda services, the universities and sciences, and politics in regards to what is at stake, is it fair to assume that they are lying about who the first pharaohs of Egypt are? If they say they were not black, does it matter when I have established myself as the top martial artist in reality, not in the propaganda system? And of course, do women naturally desire the handsome top martial artist pharaoh more than anyone else, generally speaking? Now think about Islam, its disagreement with the West and how it is oversimplified as terrorists versus Western values. It is actually natural values, which Islam has strayed from, okay, to various degrees, versus Western value. That's why we have Shia and Sunni and Wahhabis and Sufis and so on, right? These are various groups that say, think this way, live this way, so we can control trade and reproduction. Okay? That is what they're saying. Again, what does that mean? That means that the women who are willing to obey God the most are most likely to be Muslim. They are the ones who are trained to say, I am willing to die to be with someone like Chukwu Emeka. Why don't Western women do this? The only women that would come my way are gang stalkers, corporate shells, people who have been told, go date him. And almost always they are going to be undesirable women, unsuitable helpers, willing to take advantage of someone like me. Someone they're naturally attracted to, but society doesn't want the most attractive women to date. Again, you must ask yourself, do women, in a natural state of mind, do women naturally desire the handsome top martial artist pharaoh more than anyone, generally speaking? Even now, they are fuming me and drugging me, but I maintain a certain discipline, focus, and concentration that allows me to articulate my point. If you do not concede my point, are you a coward? Are you stealing from God in a way that you cannot replace? Adultery in the know is stealing from God in a way you can't replace. Murder, to cheat me out of my rightful place, to have sex with attractive women when you are a less than martial artist type of person, is cheating God unless you have done it in the divine order. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way. They are making it hard for me to articulate my point. So I have to do things like this to focus and concentrate more. That's why they give you chemicals, psych meds, sugars, alcohol, weed, things that make you unfocused, mind-altering drugs and chemicals for mind control purposes and to trick you so you can't focus and see the truth. He who can focus and see the truth best is the top martial artist, mind, body, and soul, where these things combine and overlap. There is no scientific test that you can use to determine that. IQ tests don't determine that. Only sparring, spirit, spire, spar, spear, right? Strike, okay? Mental sparring, why does it come from spear? Mental sparring. Spar from the root word spire. Spear. Come on. Their own wordplay proves this fact for the purpose of them saying, we've seen it your way the whole time. Because they're satanic.